Hi everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. For today, we will continue. I will share with you. This is my video record to the rest of our class for last week. Last class, we started talking about non-experimental quantitative research design. My record will be first in English. Then after that, I will do the same record using Arabic language. So last class we mentioned about the non-experimental quantitative research design is just to describe whatever we have, testing the relationship or the causal comparative and ex post facto design. Uh, it's not about controlling the variables at all. When it comes to controlling the variables, this means we will do what we call is experimental design. So we discussed about last week. We talked about descriptive design, and we talk about comparative design also as well. Then correlational design. In correlational design, we talked about simple correlational design and prediction design. Prediction design, whereas we are going to predict the value of y by using the value of x. If we have one x and one y, this means we are talking about simple regression. Whereas if we talk about more than one x with one y or more, we are talking about multiple regression. Um, then the next topic that we will talk about it is uh, what's causal comparative design. Causal comparative design, we mentioned before that relationship or even prediction is not about causality. So we couldn't assume that one factor will cause the change in the other factor. The other side, there are some design, like for example, causal comparative design, where is a little bit we can assume that there is a little bit some causality, but it's not 100%. So ex post facto design to make things easier for you to understand. For example, if I would like to study if there is any relationship between smoking cigarette and getting lung cancer. Of course, ethically, we couldn't, and also logically, we couldn't ask someone to start smoking cigarette, increase the number of cigarettes he smoke every day, increase the number till getting cancer. Of course, this one is cannot be acceptable like that. So, what we do in this case, researcher can go to the hospital and do study for anyone who has cancer, lung cancer, and then we'll ask him if he is smoking cigarette, how many cigarettes per day. Then, by using some methods, some statistical methods, we can conclude that if anyone smoked such a number of cigarettes, maybe the opportunity for this guy to get lung cancer it will be high. Just only that. Even this is cannot be 100% because, for example, we know a lot of people they smoking cigarette and but they don't have cancer. So this is what we call ex post facto design. So studies that investigate the relationship between independent and dependent variables in situations where it is impossible or unethical to manipulate the independent variable. This is what I said, manipulating the independent variable, increasing the number of cigarettes till the person gets cancer. Of course, this is cannot be acceptable. So there are some issues of concern when it comes to ex post facto design. For example, selecting the participants. So you have to be sure that the people that you will select is uh, their characteristics suit to the manipulating of as if you are manipulating the independent variable. And you couldn't also generalize because, as I told you, for example, we assume that we conclude that if someone smoke such amount of cigarettes every day, maybe you couldn't generalize in this case. Also, this is another design with causal comparative design. Causal comparative design usually people use with path analysis and structure equation modeling. path analysis and structure equation modeling. So if you are doing path analysis, if you are doing a structure equation modeling, so in this case, the perfect research design that you are going to use is causal comparative. So because of that, some people, for example, when they are doing structure equation modeling and they mention that they are using descriptive research design. Yes, it's still descriptive, but better to talk about causal comparative design. Now we are encouraging our students to be very specific when it comes to the research design that they are using. There are some criteria for evaluating causal comparative design. Number one, the primary purpose is to investigate causal relationship. Causal, this means a little bit about causality when experimental design are not possible. So that's so important. So you are trying to check the causal relationship, but whereas the experimental design are not impossible, aren't possible. Uh, Presumed causal condition has already occurred. So this one, especially because if you are going to suggest a model, of course you couldn't suggest a model if you don't have any evidence from the previous research that there is a relationship already, or there is from the previous studies, it's clear that maybe, for example, if students will not be motivated, he will not be engaged in classroom activities. So this is from where did we get this causality from the previous studies. Potential extraneous variables are considered. So this is you need to take into account any extraneous variables, any other variables can affect this condition. Existing differences between group being compared are controlled. So this means, for example, if there will be, we assume that there will be a difference between males and females, so you have to test the model, one model for male, another model for female. Causal conclusions are made with caution. So you couldn't also, you have to be very, very careful when it comes to the conclusion. Using the survey, maybe this is the last matter that we would like to talk using the survey. A data collection method that is very useful for descriptive and correlation studies. But this is especially if you are talking about a big number of participants, usually, not just a few number. So mostly this is when we talk about survey, or usually when we are using a questionnaire, preferable to talk about survey. There are two types of survey, which is cross-sectional design and longitudinal design. Cross-sectional design, for example, if I would like to study how the motivation level of OPSI students change from year 1 to year 4, I have two options in this case. Number one, to do longitudinal design, whereas I ask students in year 1. Then after that, when those students will be in year 2, I will give them the same questionnaire. When they will be in year 3, I will give them the same questionnaire. When they will be in the last year, I will give them the same questionnaire. Then I will study how their motivational level will be changed. This is longitudinal design. But this is there is two risks. Number one, it will take long time, cost money, and also in the same time, maybe some of those people will withdraw from my sample. So this is one of the risks here. So better in this case to use cross-sectional design. Cross-sectional design in this case, what you need to do is just to ask to take sample from students in year 1, another sample from students year 2, another third sample from students in year 3, and fourth sample from students in year 4. Then they'll give both all of them the same questionnaire about motivation. Then after that, I can compare their motivational level in the during their study. Those are the two types of survey, which is cross-sectional. Again, cross-sectional, I will give the same survey to students from year 1 to year 4. This is an example, just only. And the longitudinal that I give, I follow up with the students from year 1 until the same students until year 4. So this is about explanation between the cross-sectional design and longitudinal research design. This is some steps in designing a survey. If you are going to design a survey, you need to define the purpose and objective, then identify the resources needed to and the target population. That's so important. You need to think about the time, also the sample size, the cost, and so on. Then choose the methods. Are you going to send them printed out survey, or you are going to send them electronic by using Google Form, for example, or you ask them by telephone or interview them face to face? You have to be careful to be sure about how you are going to collect your data or using your survey. Uh, then after that, according to what we call the way that you are going to collect data, then in this case, you are going to develop the items, the guidelines you would like for example, must be clear. For example, language is clear also as well, short and simple, grammar. Don't write leading items, or you don't ask about two items in 2 points in one item, for example. You have to be constant in your writing also as well. The scale, you have to use the same scale for all items. Cannot, for example, one item using 3 Likert scale, another item 5, another item 7. No, you have to be what we call consistent. And then after that, you need to design the format of the survey regarding the space and the font size. Uh, Other point is develop the direction. This is the first paragraph in any questionnaire. Direction must be very clear. So you have to list down all the directions and clearly mention to your sample in the first paragraph. Also, sometimes you need a letter from your institution, for example, that mentioning that you are going to collect data, the purpose and the benefit. And sometimes you need to give some introduction before just giving the instructions to collect your data. Uh, the pilot test or pilot study. This is so important, especially if you would like to double check the format of your questionnaire and also to check the psychometric characteristics of the survey, which is the validity and reliability. So this is what we call pilot test. This is the minimum number of the pilot test, 15 to 20. But personally, I advise you to use more than that. I prefer to use more than that, especially to check if you are going to check the reliability using Cronbach alpha or any other way. Okay, this is about response rate. When you send the survey or the questionnaire to your students, not all of them will reply to you. So you have to be aware about the low response rate because if will be very high, you couldn't use your survey. And this because this will affect your sample size also as well. And because of that, we always encourage our students, if their sample size, the minimum 300, I ask them to send to 400 people, so or to 200 participants. So in this case, he will be sure that at least he will get more than 300. This is some suggestions to increase the response rate. Design one survey, contact the subjects, sometimes include the self-address written envelope and use a good transmittal letter. You know, sometimes use some intensives. This means sometimes some people even give money. For example, a ticket to the cinema if you are doing this. Mac, what we call a voucher to buy a Mac, uh, for example, or lunch or something like that. And you need sometimes to do a follow-up with them. Using electronic survey now is very popular, especially when we are talking about COVID-19. During COVID-19, it's very preferable now to use electronic survey. Like, for example, one of them very famous now is Google Form. And I encourage all of my students to use this way. Why? Because by using electronic survey, Google Form, no need for you later on to key in the data into SPSS because you will get the data in Excel file. This is some advantage: reducing time, easy to access, quick response, easy to create data set. This is what I talk about Excel sheet. This advantage that sometimes you students they need to or participants need to ask some questions whereas you are not around, and this is uh, some issues related to confidentiality and